Well, hello. You've heard this patch already. Last weekend, I did a little bit of tweaking, and I'm going to talk about what's happening. I have Multicasa. It's providing master clock, which I'm feeding into the QCD to distribute, speeding it up to drive grids, and slowing it down to collect this clock division, and then sequence 8 and things over here. But let's see, Multicasa's mix output is going through the Trigotronic M669, and we're hearing that in the mix. I've got the Lifeforms SV1 being pitch sequenced by sequence 8, and it's being the envelope is being triggered by a XOR combination of two of these clock divisions. And the filter is being controlled by the noise engineering clip Diaz, which is just stepping up and down. That's being clocked by the slowest division on the A160-2 over here. Sequence 8 is being clocked by a divide by 4, so I think I have this set on integers, just 2 through 9, and then that clock is also being shared over here to the 8-bit cipher, and I'm using the cipher to control the pitch of the ensemble oscillator, which is the little things happening there, panned slightly to the right, and that's being triggered by a XOR combination of a Euclidean pattern and a random trigger from the Bostel Little Nerd, which is firing the Sonic Potions Descent, which is controlling the LXD, because the each LXD is different apparently because of the behavior of the Vectrols. The strike input on mine is just so fast, it makes a click. You really can't even hardly hear it. I wanted something slightly longer so that the ear can detect some sort of pitch to it, and so I use the descent envelope. The warp of the ensemble I am controlling with CV from the Hypester. Grids is controlling 2 HP hat and the 2 HP snare. And then I'm taking the step 2, because that one sounded the best, from sequence 8, and dividing it by 2, 4, 8. Divided by 8, I'm sending down here to the Animodule Gate Mod to hold that gate for just a specific length, not for the entire cycle of that clock division, but just for about 6 beats on the sequencer, and then that gate is controlling some of these A150-8 octal VC switches. I'm using 4 of them, and they're ganged together. I have it set up so that the switch flips when the voltage is high, and when the voltage drops back to 0, it returns to normal. So you can configure these to either react to voltage or you can configure them to toggle so it changes state and remains there until it receives another trigger. Well, I have it on the voltage mode, and then you can slave switches to the master one, so I only need to control one of them, and then the other ones that I have configured to follow it will replicate its behavior. So I've got snare and the multicasa output from the Trigotronic and the lifeforms all being switched. However, with the lifeforms, I have, instead of leaving the other side of the switch empty, I'm sending it a slower trigger pattern. Anyway, this creates breaks every 8 bars. And I'm sending a couple of things. The ensemble and the ensemble and hat are going through microburst, as well as rings, which is that burn like a string hit that's happening every time the switch switches back, because the way gate mod works, there's 2 gates, and it is internally patched so that the second one fires as soon as the first one ends. So I can get an event that happens when the switches switch back. And then of course, there's the EO wave ribbon. It's pressure sensitive. I'm still using the internal synthesizer. You can also configure it to output CV and control modular gear, because it will send out a variable pitch CV as well as a gate. The gate is high whenever the ribbon is pressed, and it responds to pressure, so you have pitch and volume with one finger. And then this resistive pad down here, if you use the software editor, which I haven't done yet, it comes with 16 built-in patches that you can cycle through with these little buttons. With the resistive pad, you can set the behavior if you use the editor, but on most of the factory patches, it applies modulation. And just like resistive touch plates on like the make noise pressure points, a bunch of other devices that use this technique, they say that it's pressure sensitive, but it is really spread sensitive. So like the more finger you have on there, the more it will respond. And this, because your fingertips are squishy, pressure will put more of your skin in contact with this, but it's really you use the harder end of your finger. It doesn't matter how hard you press, you need to get that meaty part so that it spreads out. But here I've talked and screwed around, and this video's already 10 minutes long, and I haven't really played this very expressively for you, but I mean, there you go. I think you'll get the idea. I hope that you found this interesting. I'm going to wrap it up because I've gone on for long enough. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you next time.